This episode is brought to you by Whitaker Garage Doors, your one-stop shop for all things garage doors, proudly based in Peekskill, New York. Your home is a direct reflection of your personal style, and let's face it, your garage doors are the first thing people see when they pull up your driveway. Whether you're looking for the timeless charm of a classic carriage house door or the clean, sleek look of a basic wood finish, Whitaker Garage Doors offers traditional options for every taste and budget. I can personally vouch for their incredible service. When I had my own garage doors done, I was blown away by their timeliness, professionalism, and overall respect for their clients. Jonathan, Cassara, and their entire team are top-notch, and they really go the extra mile to ensure you're happy with the final result. So if you're in the market for a new garage door or need some repairs, give them a call or find them on Instagram at Whitaker_doors. Don't forget to tell them you're a friend of Dave's over at the No Snooze podcast. Whitaker Doors. You won't regret it. Now, back to the Epi. Adversity? Bring it. The struggle? I welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. I am Dave Regina, and this is the No Snooze podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 274. As always, I'm in the booth with my brother. We got the big ticket in the building. We have Claudio the Voice Valenzuela, a.k.a. Kayi TV, and I am Dave, the Body Regina. Listen, if you are locking in with us first thing in the morning on a Monday, happy No Snooze Monday to you. I am gassed up in the booth with a doble ooh, which is my version of a double espresso. I don't know why I've nicknamed it that, but I feel like you drink it and you're just like, ooh. And because it's a double espresso, that's how I got the doble ooh name. So I need to take a sip.
This is pretty funny, your nicknames for just things in general. You have a knack for nicknaming everything.
Highly caffeinated, always motivated. I'm back in the booth. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Your energy is contagious.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Oh, man. Now, you know what's funny is first thing in the morning when I woke up, today I have a 18-hour day. And they're long days, bro. They're really, really long. And sometimes I get caught up in thinking about the hours and the amount of things that I have to do the podcast, hit the office, meeting, drive out an hour to Warwick for an ace dinner, to then drive home and get home at 11:15 p.m. Long days.
Is that what's the plan for today?
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you going with somebody are you driving with somebody physically to Warwick?
No.
So what do you utilize like that? It's an hour drive, right? Mm-hmm. So do you utilize that hour drive there and the hour drive back to do other stuff, or is that kind of like your you time before, one, to decompress from the work stuff leading into the dinner, and two, on the way back to kind of give yourself that moment for you before, the chaos of home?
Yeah, it's both. Because unfortunately, the dinner falls on the same day as a board meeting happening tonight, and I have to be on the board meeting on the call on my drive over to Warwick.
Oh, that's terrible.
Which is tough. But I will make sure that throughout the day, I take one 12 to 15-minute break where I actually, I'll probably nap, throw on a meditation, and I fall into like a little nap. But it's a 12 to 14-minute thing that I throw on YouTube. And that's kind of like my moment. But then on the way home, I'm usually like fired up from, how the dinners go. It's like a very uplifting environment. So I'll feel good after, and I throw some worship music on and kind of sing my way home. But then what's crazy, man, is the second that I hit the bed, I'm like snoring crazy. Katie thinks I have narcolepsy.
Do you remember a time?
No, do you remember?
Hold on. Can I speak, please?
I slept next to you.
Why do you have to say it before I do?
All
I can
right,
just mute your microphone if you want. I was accused of snoring like a bear. I am pretty sure. And
accused?
Accused.
Accused, so it didn't happen?
I mean, there was a light snore.
You want me to play the clip?
Just because you can't fall asleep.
Oh man,
It was a snore. It's just a plain snore. But I would be. We should bring Katie in here and ask her,
bro.
your levels of
She
snoring.
called me the other day. I was like, "That's not me," and she literally took the phone and got like into me, bro. It was like mouth snoring, and it was crazy because I was on my back.
Yeah.
And if ever I hit my back, it's over for y'all. It is over. But anyway, let's get into the Bible verse for this week. So Preacher Reg is back in the building, and this week's verse is from Matthew 6:34. And it goes like this. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So, many of us, I believe, we're missing today because we are so consumed by tomorrow. We're worried about next week, next month, and even next year. But meanwhile, the only day that we actually have control over is today and right now. Jesus wasn't saying don't prepare for the future. He was saying don't sacrifice your peace in the present because of a future that hasn't even happened yet. The goal is to win today, right? That's the focus. So go out, make the phone call, get the workout in, have the conversation, spend time with your family. Take the very next step. I guess if I were to close it out, I'd say this. You don't have to solve your entire life today. You just have to be faithful with the day that you've been given. One of my favorite quotes, Tom Stefano was telling me this, a good friend of mine. And he said that yesterday was history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. And that's why we call it the present. All right. So my question to you listening to this right now is what would you change if you stopped worrying about tomorrow and focused on winning today? What do you think about that, CV?
I relate. I think it's I think I'm guilty of that.
I think we all are.
I think yeah. Well, I mean, just by nature,
right?
We're all trying to achieve goals, and literally the definition of achieving a goal is projecting into the future, right? So, yeah, I relate to that, and it's hard. It's hard to not think of it that way. It's hard to just live in the moment. At least it is for me. But it's wiser words couldn't have been said.
Isn't that? I don't know why it's such a bomb for me, like a bomb. The today is a gift. And that's why we call it the present.
It's just a play on words, man. You get excited with the play on words.
No, that's fire.
It is fire because it's a play on words.
But it's a present. It's an actual present.
Play on words
the gift
are
of life.
supposed to make you feel like, oh, that was good. That was clever.
That was very good. Yeah. That was almost as good as this doble. Ooh.
How do you feel about all these not all of these things, but sometimes I feel like some of these messages that are good for us are somewhat contradictory to the way of life that we are either in already or trying to achieve, and it's a lot of like I feel like contradiction.
In what way?
For example, this
like
is
this, like don't focus
example.
on your goals. See, but
Right.
like I don't interpret it as don't focus on your goals, right? I think for me, I want to set those goals and I want to even start to achieve them. But what I can't do, which I've been guilty of many times, is I end up focusing too much on that, where I'm trying to connect and send the email, but meanwhile I'm missing pushing my daughter on the swing.
But that's the point, though. That's literally the whole point of what I'm saying.
No, but that's not. I don't think that's a contradiction. I think there's a balance that has to happen, right? Like I think the goal setting that's great. That's what we do, bro. We have to set goals and we got to achieve them. But you can't.
Do we?
Too? Yes.
Why?
But you can't be too. If you want to grow,
why can't we grow in a spiritual manner? Why can't we grow in a peaceful environment? Why can't we grow in a place where we're not always seeking
growth?
That thing that is for the future,
like Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think growth is hectic. I think growth is chaotic. I think it is not something that is I don't know if growth is peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Because
I don't think it absolutely
because we're
at all.
all so guilty of trying to attack the next thing. And I think what it does and what this is talking about is there's going to be worries tomorrow anyway. So if we're so focused on the worries of tomorrow, that takes us away from the moment that we're supposed to be in right now.
Yeah.
So, what we have to do is make a conscious decision to compartmentalize, right? Like when I'm here right now, I want to be in this moment with you. I want to enjoy this podcast episode. I want to bring value to listeners. I'm not worried about the 18-hour day. That's why I'm drinking another doble U prior to 10 a.m. in the morning.
Bro, we're going to have to like separate a little bit with time. All the double U's that you take in one day.
Listen, man, you know.
This cannot be healthy for your heart. It cannot.
Listen, my heart is in full. Listen, God's got my heart. All right, God's got my heart. But no, I think the real skill is being able to compartmentalize, man, and you can still focus, you know, on the goals, on the future. But what we can't do is allow it to take away from the moment that we're supposed to be in, which is the hardest thing. I don't think it's easy. I just think when I read this stuff, it's a great reminder that we really only have control over right now, so we might as well make the best of it and not worry about what's coming in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I just posed that because it makes me think sometimes of like the sometimes the positive messages that are out there that we intake sometimes are a little bit contradictory to what, and again, not in the word, because you're right, it's about balance and it's about understanding what is ultimately what you want. But it's very contradictory.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I would agree.
It's almost like saying like a Buddhist or somebody that practices, or like Buddha, he is not he's not in leadership. He doesn't care about himself because he does nothing to grow, because he just sits still all day for centuries.
He needed to work out a little bit.
You see what I'm saying?
Buddha was a big boy.
But he is, you know, from that spiritual place, from that peace, they are still teaching us things.
Just sit there and
I mean,
just
and
sit
not for
there
nothing.
and
Was Jesus Christ like all built? Was
Absolutely.
he working out?
Yeah, he had a good body.
I thought he didn't eat.
What?
I thought he didn't
What
eat.
do you mean he didn't eat, bro?
I thought he
There's
wasn't.
plenty of what's the Last Supper? What do you think he's eating?
The fact that there's a last supper, homeboy didn't eat after that.
No. He ate a ton, and there's plenty of scripture that talks about, you know, how they all break bread together, and he always ate. He was a human being. That's the difference, right? Like Jesus was actually in the flesh.
So he nourished his body,
yes,
appropriately with a lot of protein,
and I think he drank
worked out.
he did his nickels and dimes in the morning. He did his 5 pull-ups, his 10 pushies. You know, he moved his body and moved his spirit, man.
This conversation went sideways.
In Jesus' name. All right, cool. So today we are going to jump into questies. Really appreciate you guys reaching out, whether it's via Instagram or even an email. We have an email today. I don't know how long we're going to go on this episode, so we may cut this into 2, but we'll keep you guys posted. So CV.
Are you cutting it into 2 because my less than par reading ability is going to take so long?
Nah, you know,
it needs a 2 episode for this.
You know what I was thinking? Sometimes I don't know if we provide too much information on episodes.
What do you mean? Like
if
context?
Like I don't know, running an hour and 15, 20-minute eps with just bombs of fire is almost too much value for the listener. I got to break it up into 2, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
You know?
The double U's must be kicking in. All right, so I will go with this first question.
I think we have some serious ones today, too.
Oh, come on, man. It's the summer. There's no serious questions in the summer.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if I'm addicted to smoking in the morning. In parentheses, it says, I do it 5 times a week. I think that could be like an addiction.
Yeah.
And although I'm a functional smoker, what? Although I'm a functional smoker, are we talking about weed or are we talking about cigarettes?
Weed.
Oh. Although I'm a functional smoker, I know it's doing more bad than good. What has helped you in your journey to quit drinking? Do they relate? Are they comparable, you think?
I don't know. I mean, I guess addiction is addiction, although I made the choice to stop drinking. I will say this, man. Like, so I know there's a lot of medicinal uses for marijuana these days, but I really want to commend this person for, you know, identifying. I don't even know if I'm commending you for identifying as an addict, but just being honest with yourself, because you talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh, like it's so good for me type thing. Bro, I was driving the other day and this dude was next to me blasting. It looked like a good time. I ain't gonna lie, but smoking a really fat blunt while he was driving. And it was the morning time.
By the way, now that it's legalized,
That's not legal,
no,
bro.
no, I understand that. But now that it's been legalized, you see some wild stuff out there.
Yeah.
Like, it is still not legal to be smoking and driving.
so
Meanwhile, everybody does it now in the open because technically it's no longer. But that's no different than having a drink while you're driving.
So this would be, what, a DUI, driving under the influence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was amazed because it was early in the morning and I'm like kind of bobbing my head to worship, and I see him bobbing his head. I'm thinking he's listening to worship. And then literally I look back and he has this massive blunt that he's smoking and his sunglasses were on. And I'm like, dude, like, are you aware? Like, I don't know. For me, smoking has never really been my thing. I did it, a lot in college, like anybody, even in high school, dabbled with it here and there, but I always got paranoid. And I have friends who own, what's it called? A cannabis dispensary. And I know that there are benefits for the CBD and that type of stuff. So I don't want to get this confused. With,
Well, it's a downer, so
like
it
I'm
calms you.
knocking, but
a
again,
calming
I want to
thing,
be
right?
clear. Like that stuff, if you're using it for medicinal, and those that are advocates for marijuana, I'm not looking to put anybody down. I'm addressing this person who is saying I smoke weed 5 times in the morning, and he even said that it's doing more bad than good for him.
Right, so
now.
he's acknowledging.
Right. So that's what I'm addressing. So I don't want to see no clips on Instagram or me, knocking people down in terms of their business, because I have a couple friends who own dispensaries. One of my best friends, Angelo LaRoche, owns a dispensary out in Seaport. Is it South Street Seaport? Is that
In Manhattan?
Yes, in Manhattan. And I went to the opening. It's dope, super dope. And I even bought some products down there for people in my family. So that side is different.
No names.
Yeah, no names. For the past 5 years, I've trusted Kai Vision Studio with my podcast. And every time, Claudio delivers an exceptional experience. The setup here is flawless. Professional lighting, crystal clear audio, and a custom set that makes every episode look elite. As someone who speaks on leadership, I know how important it is to show up with clarity and confidence. This studio allows me to do just that. The quality here isn't just about the equipment, it's about the environment. Claudio has created a space where I can focus on my message, knowing the production will be sharp, engaging, and professional. In a world flooded with content, standing out matters. And having a studio like this gives me the edge to produce videos and podcasts that truly connect with my audience. If you're serious about creating high quality content, I can't recommend Kai Visions enough. Claudio makes you feel at home, yet delivers at the highest level. 5 years in, I'm not going anywhere else. But for me, you asked me what has helped me on my journey. I think it's been God, alignment, and community for me. Right? God is the one that has allowed me the freedom and lifted the urge to drink. I felt a real calling after I had my daughter that I needed to really stop drinking. And I think that's where the alignment piece came in for me. And then finding a community of guys like Sean Degnan and the ACE community. My beautiful queen, Catherine, doesn't drink. A lot of my friends don't drink. But that's me, right? So I don't want to just hit you with the stuff that you like typically hear. I want to give you some tools I think that you can apply.
Well, before you start, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a fact, so I could be getting fact checked pretty soon. More than an urban legend.
Oh, more than an urban legend?
Or urban myth, right? Smoking weed, doesn't it kill brain cells? So scientifically, doesn't it do that to your brain cells?
Yeah, I think so.
I might have to Google this while you're
again,
talking.
I'm not an addiction specialist.
No, I'm not even talking about from addiction. Just the.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
it definitely does something neurologically.
So as functional as you believe you can be, I mean, we're gonna now we can jump into the realm of like rating. What does functionality mean? Are you at your highest functioning rate,
right,
or at the lowest functioning rate?
I like that. That's a very good point.
On to you.
Yeah. No, so to give you, I guess just context, right? Because I've read a lot on addiction, specifically with my mom, with my own journey and not drinking. Addiction is caused by two main things in the moment. You get the urge to either drink, you get the urge to smoke. Typically, it's either stress related or cued by like the environment that you're in. right? Does that part make sense? Like for you to want to drink or smoke, for me, drinking, I was either like stressed and wanted to like take the edge off, or I was in an environment, in a space that it made me want to drink, right? So now when you know those two things, I have specifically, and I don't know if this is a coined term out there, but I'm going to call them trigger replacements. Now, for me, when I would be triggered to drink when I first stopped drinking, I would always want a seltzer and a lemon if I was out in an environment. And that was my trigger replacement, right? So if I'm now in a space where I don't really know people, just having this cup in my hand, and I also wanted bubbles in the drink because I didn't want it to just be water where I can chug it. So the fact that I was able to have a seltzer, specifically flavored if possible, even a little cranberry juice in the seltzer, even a little pineapple, like I remember watching the gun behind the bar and like hearing the and it still gave me the same feeling and of the space that I was in. So that was something that like I really relied on. So I would challenge you to find a trigger replacement. I don't know if it's, you waking up and like you rolling this thing or putting a thing in a bong and smoke. I don't really know what the specifics is, but what can you do in your own life that can replace that trigger? So when that trigger is going on in your mind, are you able to switch it and say, you know what, I want to go make a coffee instead? Or are you able to, I don't know, make something up? You know what I mean? Like make a shake, do something that's going to switch the desire in that moment. It sounds difficult, but it's not if you actually focus on it.
When you're explaining your replacement thing, how do you replace the feeling of it, the good feeling of having the drink?
How do you replace the...
Because I think for maybe a weed smoker, it's hard to say, oh, just go make some coffee if theoretically when you smoke, you feel differently. You feel right and relaxed and good and calm. How do you replace that feeling? Because coffee is obviously going to not do that for you.
Yeah, so again, I'm not an addiction specialist by any means, but there is science out there, and there's a technique called the rule of 3 in addiction. And this is something that I've read, I've researched, and it makes a lot of sense. You have to chemically change your brain in that moment, right? That's the most important thing. So this rule of 3 is you have to out loud say 3 things that you can see, 3 things that you can hear, and then move 3 different parts of your body.
That's when you want to do the act?
Yes. When you want to do the act, you jump into this rule of 3 in hopes to take away from the present moment and the desire of wanting to utilize drugs or alcohol, right? So now you're almost shifting in a sense of gratitude because you're talking about 3 things that you can see, and literally you want to say this out loud. So I could say, studio, lights, television, right? And now, even as I'm saying that, I'm like, I'm not really buying it. Okay, now what are 3 sounds that I can hear? Claudio breathing into the microphone. The air conditioning. Me putting this cup down. Now, as I said that third 3, I'm kind of already away from what I was just thinking. Now, the third thing is moving my body. Now, I would take this to another level. I would probably do like 10 different jumping jacks, maybe 10
nickels and dimes,
maybe 10 squats, maybe 10 push-ups. But, can you sit there and really acknowledge the movement, in your arm? Can you do some neck rotations? Can you, move your leg 3 times? And what that does, the first time you're going to be like, this is dumb. The second time you're going to be like, this is dumb. Third time you're going to be like, this is dumb. But eventually you're going to be like, yo, this is what I do when I have this urge, and you slowly begin to create a different thought process in your mind. So you have to have these tools available to you and actually utilize them to have any level of change in your life. Right? So that's a tool that I've studied and I've read about, and I've even implemented at times. I remember actually being at a wedding and being like, yo, I just got to move. And instead of me doing the 1, 2, 3 thing, I literally challenged myself and I got out on the dance floor because I was like, damn, I want to go dance versus me having a drink. So it's definitely something that I've done. But I think in this specific scenario, it could be helpful for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. I mean, I guess it all starts with you wanting the change.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you want the change is to do the little things, different things to hopefully change.
Yeah. Good luck to you, man. And you know, this is not, I don't think addiction is easy by any means. And also, like, you trying to do this yourself is tough. I mean, I don't know the exact statistic, but the statistic of you beating this all by yourself, certainly possible, but I know it's much greater with a community around you. So if there is a meeting that you can go to and even just sit in, you know, one thing that I love about my mom and her journey is she used to go to the AA meetings and just be curious. And there was different phases to that. She even told me well after she was sober, she said, David, you know that I used to go into the parking lot with my drink just because I wanted to see what the people look like coming out of these meetings, because she had this this thought process that everyone was homeless and like a bum. And then she saw people coming out in suits, and she saw, like, you know, teachers and doctors and attorneys.
Doesn't
and,
discriminate.
You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't. So that was the first start to her journey, where she didn't even walk in. She just went to the parking lot. Then she slowly started to participate in the meetings, but was still using. And then she got swooped up by the greatness of God and AA. You know what I mean? So I think it's a process, man. And this is a big one. You just wanting to, it seems like you want, you know, a little more change in your life. So good luck to you, man.
Right on. Are we saying names?
Names?
There's some names here.
Names. Oh.
My friend blank.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's fine.
My friend Joan. Joni sent me your podcast. Props to Joan. And I really enjoy these Q&A episodes. I am having a very hard time lately. That was a period there.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We're starting. I lost some weight and started a routine, but I'm always starting over. If you had to simplify this, how do you make permanent changes in your life? That's a good question.
It is a good question. And I could be rough with this one, but I'm not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
I'm familiar with the roughness.
I'm not going to be rough because you're a new listener. So I want to coddle you and bring
Joan,
you.
thank you for asking the question, because hopefully he won't be rough with me. Well,
this isn't Joan. This is Joan Sent the Podcast.
Oh, I'm through. Oh, you're right. Joan's friend.
Okay.
Joan's friend.
So I have to look at this in my own life, right? And I don't want to be coachy here. I want to be Dave Regina, actually answering this question as you asked it, how I make change in my life. So over my experiences and through the years, I believe that there's really only two things in life that will truly make you change. It's either inspiration or desperation. You look at this podcast, and we were inspired to start the podcast. Notice how I didn't say motivated to start the podcast, because we are 6+ years in. I think you, Joni's friend, have a motivation problem. You're relying on motivation versus really being inspired and understanding that that's the second level of discipline and consistency. Motivation is step one, but that's something where you're going to do for a small period of time and then you're going to fall off. But when you're inspired to do something, the purpose is much greater than just being motivated, and that's going to allow you to continue something, right? So that's change number one. Or you have desperation. I believe we get forced into things in our lives that we have no other way to get out of it besides changing, i.e. for me, drinking, right? I was drinking to the point to where my relationships were suffering. It was hindering me professionally. It was hindering me as a father, and I was desperate for change, right? Me being in a healthy new relationship now after a divorce, I had to change because I didn't want to do the same thing in my life. I was desperate. So you right now are just struggling because you're motivated, right? And you have to find the true thought in yourself to put yourself in a space of, honestly, I like desperation even better. Because if I handed you a piece of paper right now that said you had 6 months to live, and unless you change your habits and your routines and the tactics on how you move on a day-to-day basis, then you're going to live your life. But if you don't, you're going to pass away. God forbid. But I believe that if that piece of paper was handed to you, you would be able to change. And I believe that 99% of people would be able to change. The problem is the world is too comfortable. And that's an individual problem, but it's also a societal issue because mediocrity has just been accepted, right? But also for you, I want you to get through this. So I don't think that you should be setting these astronomical goals. But like, what are the 3 key things that you can do on a daily basis to keep this weight off, right? We have that great framework of challenge, learn, and serve. And I think those 3 things can actually help move the needle forward in your life, right? Challenging your body every day, making sure that you're moving 30 to 45 minutes, learning something new. You're already doing that. You're listening to this podcast. Hopefully you're listening and reading to other things, and then also serving other people, right? And when you're doing that and you're constantly focused on a positive mindset and a positive life, you're going to change. But to sum it all up, I think you need to find something to be inspired by, or that you're desperate enough to make the change. Shout out to Boundless Nutrition, because if you're serious about your health, your performance, and your lifestyle, this place is a game changer. Boundless Nutrition is a hub for people who refuse to live average. We're talking ready-to-go healthy meals for busy professionals, sports performance supplements, vitamins you can trust, training gear, and the best protein shake bar around. So whether you're chasing strength, fat loss, endurance, or just trying to feel better day to day, they've got you covered. And let me say this, Amanda and the entire Boundless team are incredible, knowledgeable, welcoming, and genuinely invested in helping you win. If you're in Westchester County, New York, stop by 54 Washington Avenue in Pleasantville and experience it for yourself. You can tell them you're a friend of Dave's, and find them on Instagram at Boundless Nutrition NY. Because at the end of the day, change your lifestyle, change your life. Now, back to the epic. Like if I were to ask you, right? In your life.
No, we're not doing that.
What?
However, let's talk about inspiration. How do you find inspiration? How would you tell somebody to find inspiration? Because I think when people attack a problem like this and they lose a bunch of weight, like she said, there was inspiration at some point, or desperation, but at some point there was something.
Well, motivation is always the first step.
Yeah, but I agree. Motivation takes you about this far.
Yep.
And then, from there on, it's really you. So how do you refine inspiration after that first wave of success? Because I think there is a wave of success that comes, and then you kind of plateau a little bit, and then you kind of lay off the gas a little bit, and before you know it, you're finding yourself back in that space of like, I need to re-motivate myself. I need to re-find inspiration. So how do you keep that inspiration flame kind of still burning?
I think that's a great question, but I think I personally have a unique ability to put myself in the space of now and where I'm currently at, but also where I really want to go. And I think a lot of people don't do that, but can you find the ability within yourself to really see what it looks like if you were to lose another 20 pounds, right? Do you have the ability to throw your photo into ChatGPT right now and say, hey, take 20 pounds off of me and actually look at that photo, right? And in my life, I do those types of things, not with ChatGPT. I don't do that on a physical level, but like even right now, we're going to be planning for the next summit, right? So it's hard because we were on this high of health is wealth. Then things kind of like die out. We've already had 2 successful summits. So now it's time for number 3. So what I have to do and what Sean has to do is put ourselves in that space. And the first thing that we got to do is create that to-do list, man. And we're already starting. We had to reach out to like 3 different places to get some quotes and figure out like, okay, what do the living headquarters look like on this? Now the conversations begin to happen with different guys. Hey, you interested in coming to the summit? You get 14 no's. You get that one guy that says, yes, I'm in. That sparks a little level of inspiration. Now you start to think about the speakers that are going to be coming. Now Sean just went to a retreat. He came back fired up because he's taken the actions to put himself around high performing individuals. But you see what I'm saying? Like you have to really walk yourself down. What does it look like after the plateau that you're talking about? And I think a lot of people don't have the ability to do that because you're just so focused on living in the moment. Take it back to the Bible verse that we were talking about, where looking into the future, I don't always think is a bad thing, right? It's a bad thing if we're just completely focused on it and it takes away from the present. But if you're taking the present actions and you're focused on what your future looks like 20 pounds lighter, you're going to be in a good spot.
Okay.
CV's shaking his head, not giving me much.
I'm processing.
That's how I handle it. Right?
Well, I think that's the thing, though. I think it goes by personalities, by everyone is a little bit different, I guess. I would wonder if that's applicable to every single person. I don't know. I think that's maybe why I'm quiet. Because
no, I get it. I think I work well under pressure. I've learned to work well under pressure, and I truly do believe, man, if you were hit with that desperate situation, like in your life, no matter what it is, whether it's you in business, whether it's Joni's friend with weight loss, like if you really put yourself in that desperate position and created a scenario that like you had no option, you'd figure it out. I'd figure it out. And I think we just don't do that. And we're often looking for okay, what's the fix? And there's no real fix.
I think more than finding the fix, people are trying to find the way of life so that it doesn't consume your life. Because I think in order to have that mentality, it does have to become your life. I believe you have to be very much in tune with that aspect of whatever it is that you're trying to overcome very consistently. Because the moment you kind of let it go by the wayside, you have a little chocolate ice cream, you have a little cookie here and there, and before you know it, you kind of start crumbling backwards because it's not sustainable with what our daily lives may look like. And I don't know what their daily lives look like. And you're right. It could be, not you're right. You haven't said it yet, but I know what you're going to say. Maybe the habits that are formed in that daily routine are already skewed from the get-go. So I think it's more so understanding that this is a way of life that you have to, because at the end of the day, it should be a way of life. I mean, eating healthy, exercising daily, all the things that make you healthy should be priority, but also part of your routine so that it's not a pull on any other aspect of your life.
But I don't know if I agree with that, because I do think to develop discipline, you have to feel that pull. Like, damn, I don't want to get up out of bed. Like, you're going to have to make that decision every day. And that's not like something that somebody can just spark you and wake you up. But what I can tell you is I'm not asking you to become a bodybuilder out here, but I am asking you to move your body for 30 minutes, however you want to move your body. I don't care if that's, squats and jumping jacks.
Yeah, but that's not difficult.
For a lot of people,
that's not difficult.
No, but think about this.
It's the discipline that's difficult.
No.
It's it's the consistency that's difficult.
But this
doing
is what
it once, we can all do a little bit of something.
This is what I'm saying. So if you, in your own life, because it's not hard, we make it hard. But if we had no other option, the same way that 99% of people go to work because they have to go to work, you move your body because you have to move your body. 30 minutes of you walking, 30 minutes of you weightlifting, 30 minutes of you checking the box, it has to be done. Now, if you do that, and then also throughout the week, we say, hey, Joni's friend, you're allowed 3 cheat meals throughout the week. You have to apply the level of discipline in your life to make sure that you're just having those 3 meals. Now, do that for a period of 3 to 4 weeks, get a little bit acclimated. Maybe we can add a cheat day in. But there has to be a process of like not thinking that you have to go all in right from the beginning. Like I do like to, jump in like a cold plunge. I don't like putting my foot in. Like I like going fully in, my head, everything. But a lot of people just need to dabble in steps that they can take on a daily basis. So I don't think that is hard. I think the mindset in the beginning is hard. But then once you just have it on your to-do list and it needs to get done, that's where I disagree with you.
Noted. Moving on. Some of my favorite content is you and Callie and the passion you have for being her father. I love parenting, but it's very hard. LOL. My son is 7 and I'm having trouble with discipline. I ask him to help me around the house and he fights me and throws a tantrum or doesn't do a good job. I need a drink or some help.
So good. So good. Yeah, parenting is super hard. I don't think anybody who's a parent is going to say that it's easy. But it's a beautiful, beautiful life. A couple things come to mind. And I think one of the greatest gifts that I can give to Callie right now is her seeing my level of discipline in my life. But just because I do that, it doesn't mean that I don't struggle with this, because I do. Just the other day, this is sparking a very specific scenario where Callie was not disciplined and had no focus, which is pretty much what this lady is talking about, right? And basically the scenario was Callie was doing her homework. She wanted to do other things. I created like a cheat sheet for her where she can copy 2 sentences. The thing was, the homework assignment was draw a community worker and write 2 sentences about the picture. So she told me, this is a police officer. Police officers help people, right? So that was her 2 things. But she said, Daddy, I don't know how to spell all that, which is fine. So I wrote it for her and she needed to copy it word for word. She comes into the bathroom like 3 minutes later where I was, and she's like, Daddy, I'm done. And it said, this is a police officer, period, help people. Because she wanted to use the ending of the sentence of this is a police officer as the beginning of her new sentence. And instead of writing police officers help people, she left it out the second time and just wrote period, help people. And I said, baby, that's not right. And she said, yes, it is. It's the same word. I'm just saving time. I didn't want to write the second. I'm like, that's not a sentence though. Like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, wow, how do I explain this to her? So I said, I don't know if I responded right. I said, no, go follow the directions and copy it down, right? And she started like crying a little bit. And I'm like, all right, like what's going on here? So then she does it correctly. I'm not even saying anything to her at this point. Then she goes to put her headband on, right? And I think maybe Katie put it on her head. And as Katie put it on her, her ear was sticking out like this. Because the headband, I guess, was the way that it was positioned. It kind of pushed her ear out. So Callie looks in the mirror and she's like, oh my God, I don't like this. You didn't put this on right. I was like, here's my leadership moment. Because my daughter is very focused on presenting herself properly. It's been that way since she was a baby. She wakes up in the morning, her hair looks crazy. She's like, I gotta fix my hair. It's just something she likes to look good and feel good. And honestly, that's something that she's adopted, from a very early age. So I said, baby, the same way that you're going to put your headband on properly because it's the right thing to do is the same way that you need to focus and follow directions. When teachers ask you to do something, if daddy, if mommy, if Katie ask you to do something, you have to do it the right way. You cannot cut corners because Katie just put that on you quickly. And you see what happens when you do things quickly? It doesn't come out the right way, right? And she was like, she looked at me and I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? And she was like, yes, Dad. And in that moment, I found it very unique because I was like, this is a great leadership moment for Callie because it just happened with her homework. And when we can start as parents breaking things down to where our children are aware of things and you're able to simplify it, I think that's when they really get it. So for your son, right, on the other side of this question, for your son, I think you have to compare it back to maybe a game that he likes to play. Would he... I don't know if it's a video game. I don't know if it's a sports game. I don't know if it's he gets dressed for his baseball game. Would he tuck his shirt in properly or would he have half of it out? And I think you need to show the correlation when you ask him to take out the trash and, he does it half-assed. I think you need to make those correlations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. But I think that's also assuming that a level of dialogue has been created with the child so that this type of logic and this type of rhetoric or conversation is understood, and then followed through.
Right.
I think this is a journey. It's a long journey, and you have to, the earlier you start, the easier it comes.
Yep.
And then when you get to a certain age, there's a lot of like now habits that have been like formed that may not be the best that
This is great, but also I think you as the parent right now, you cannot tolerate this level of habitual trash. You know, there is a fine line here, because I know in my life with my daughter, when she doesn't do something correctly, it takes me a little bit more time to show her how to do it, but she does it properly now. I had her wash dishes. We put it in the dishwasher. I didn't check her work. The next morning, I guess she didn't really wipe the residue off. And you know how it's hot in the dishwasher, and I didn't hit clean, so it kind of sat overnight. So when I opened the dishwasher, I saw the seasoning and like little pieces of steak still on the board that she was supposed to clean. So I said, Callie, listen, smell that? She was like, oh my God, that smells terrible. I said, yes, that's bad meat, right? Because I asked you to rinse off the dishes before you put it in the dishwasher, and there's still a chunk of meat on it, and now it stinks. So I need you to rewash it and put it back in there. Now, moving forward, when we wash dishes, we need to do it properly. Do you see why? Because you don't want to stink. And she's very aware of that type of stuff, but it's on me as a parent to correct the behavior. Right? And I don't mean to sound rough, but also like I hold myself to this standard in my life, and that's where I think a lot of parents do wrong, because when we feel, even as adults, right, if some Joe Schmo who never even had a podcast starts giving me feedback on one podcast that he listened to and tells me that I should be doing A, B, C, D, I'm not really going to listen to you, bro, because you don't know shit about podcasting. And I think it's the same way in our parenting journey. We have to live the example that we're setting for our children.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's not all over. You can always, if you're starting a little later, you can start a little late. But I think, yes, it's funny because when we were growing up, our parents would force us to do things that obviously as a kid you don't like at all, like making your bed, brushing your teeth, cleaning dishes, all the little things. And you don't realize that if you are strict with those things, and remember, I think I told you some time back about like what a parent should be within the third or fourth of life. It's one of them. When they're little, you have to be that person. You have to be a parent. You have to be the
coach.
one, to like be strict and make sure that discipline is ingrained and the ethic is there. So that way, by the time they're 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, because that's when it's going to get tough. That's really when it gets tough, because at that point now they're older, and now there's not much that you're going to be able to say or do that's going to change how they're going to continue, and that's only going to, harm them as they get into adulthood, because now those habits are formed.
I got to play you this clip. You're going to love it. This is from my favorite pastor, Philip Anthony Mitchell. Run this clip.
And you say stuff like, I just want my son to be a free thinker. This is modern parenting. Huh? We just want little Timmy to be we want little Jaquan. We want little Hector. We just want him to be free thinkers. And because of all this modern parenting, we're going to raise crazy adults. Why? Because we don't read. When the scripture says foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child. What do you mean free thinker? The scripture says train up your child in the way that they should go. It means free thinker. What kind of nonsense is that? Train up your child in the way that they should go. Don't tell me you got a 4-year-old you can't control and he's standing on the table at the restaurant and cursing out waiters. No, train up your child. Tell little Jaquan, get off the table. Tell little Connor, have respect for your elders. Tell little Hector, don't use that language. How are you going to let a sinner be a free thinker? Don't let that cute face fool you. He's a little sinner. She's a little sinner. And that's why the wisdom of God's word. The word says, in your child is foolishness. So the word calls you to train. Psalm 127, children.
It's crazy.
It's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, no, it
very passionate.
So, if you listen to the actual clip of it, it could sound, and you're not in the word, it sounds a little aggressive when you're saying your child is a sinner, right?
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
But if you read the Bible, it says that foolishness is bound up in a child's heart because they don't know better. So the responsibility is on the parent to train up the child. Phenomenal clip. And I believe wholeheartedly in making sure, I'm not saying your child is a sinner, but, I believe wholeheartedly in discipline.
Yeah, that was very passionate. Oh, man.
All right, CV. So I think we're coming up on time. I want to take a quick break, and then next week we will pick back up with the final question that came in, and then even an email from a very cool listener. And guys, I just want to say thank you. So whether you listen to 1 or 274 episodes, we're super grateful that you're here. We want to encourage you to continue to not snooze on your life, baby. All right, so have a great week. And until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Let's get it, baby. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's another epi in the books. You can follow us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. Come on.